Welcome everyone. Now today we're looking at a combined science past paper, and we're looking at 2020, and it is a paper 1. All right, so let's get into it. Now remember, before starting this examination, to always write your school number, your candidate number, your surname, and your initials. Also importantly is for you to go through the instructions on the paper. And if you do not understand the instructions, please ask questions. All right. So they also provide you with a periodic table, which is excellent. You can always refer to the periodic table just in case you need to use it. All right. So let's go into our first question here. And our first question is said, which one of the following features of a green plant is also a characteristic of all other living things? Having a cell wall is not the correct answer. A cell wall is found in plants and also some bacteria. Responding to stimuli, that is a great answer, because one of the characteristics for all living things is that it is irritability. All right, so responding to stimuli is irritability. It is one of the characteristics, the 7 characteristics. Remember Mr. Grinney. Now, escaping from enemies is not for all organisms, because remember, some organisms are immotile, which means they cannot move from place to place, and so they cannot escape. Having a large central vacuole is for plant cells. All right, so let's look at number 2. So number 2 asks, now, a liquid used for dissolving a substance is known as a what? And so remember now, if something is dissolving in something, form a solution, and a solution is made up of a solute and a solvent, but what does the dissolving is the solvent. So solvent will be our answer, which is option D. Now for question number 3, let's look at that one right there. All right, so it said, what is the scientific term for hotness or coldness? Now, the degree of how hot or something is, or cold something is the temperature of that thing. So temperature is the correct answer. A thermometer is used to measure how hot or cold the substance is. All right, but the degree of hotness or coldness is the temperature. Now let's look at number 4. And number 4 asked, which stimulus are taste receptors sensitive to? And taste, if you taste in something, it is a chemical that you're responding to. The chemical in the substance or the food is what you're responding to. So chemicals will be our answer here. All right, of course, light is for eyes, sound is for ears, and time is not a stimulus. All right, so number 5 is how do green plants make their food? And this one after but is photosynthesis, by using light to produce glucose. And so this answer is photosynthesis. Assimilation is when absorbed nutrients become a part of the organism. Osmosis, movement of water molecules across a semipermeable membrane from high to low concentration. And plasmolysis is when cell will become flaccid because they are placed in hypertonic solution. All right, so let's look at this question here. And in this case here, it gave us, it said that 4 methods of separation labeled A, B, C, and D are listed below. So we have crystallization, we have distillation, we have filtration, we have magnetism. And we need to use these methods to answer only question 6 and 7. So let's go into question 6. And so question 6 asks, which method of separation can be used to separate soil particles from a muddy water? And to separate the soil from the muddy water, the best method to use right here, let's go into the method again, will be filtration. Okay, so number 6 here will be filtration, which is C. All right, so let's highlight that one. Let's look at question number 7. And question number 7 read, which method of separation can be used to obtain pure water from seawater? All right, and so in this case here, we cannot use filtration. So the best method to use here is distillation. So question number 7 will be option B. All right. Now question number 8. All right, let me take out the zoom so we can see this entire question. All right, let me go into it a little bit. All right, right there. All right, so question number 8 reads, which of the following pieces of apparatus can be used to measure 25 centimeters cube of liquid most accurately? And it said most accurately. So if you look at the equipment real quick, the first one here, it is a burette. And so a burette is used to measure precise volume of liquids. And there's a reason behind that. So let's compare all of these. A beaker, a measuring cylinder, and a conical flask. Now, why A is the best answer here? One, the tube is narrow. And because the tube is narrow, there'll be smaller markings or graduations on this apparatus or on the burette. And so the burette will be our choice. All right. The graduation in the beaker, the measuring cylinder, and the conical flask are far apart. And so therefore those small readings may be difficult to obtain. All right. Question number 9. It said, when an astronaut goes from Earth to the moon, what changes? All right, so now we're looking at what changed about the astronaut. Is the density changing? No, because density is the mass per volume. The person will have the same mass and also take up the same space. So absolutely not. The mass will remain the same. The volume will remain the same. So the weight will change due to difference in gravity. Okay. So there's a difference in gravity, so definitely that will change. Now let's look at question number 10. It said, what undesirable effect does bleach have when used to catch lobster? Okay, so think about bleach and the effects of bleach when you're capturing lobster. And so it causes bacteria to grow rapidly. Bleach kills bacteria, so absolutely not. It kills coral. Absolutely. That's a possible answer. It produces excessive amount of carbon. No. It produces excessive amount of fungi. No. All right. So B is definitely our answer there. All right. So let's go to question number 11. And question number 11 reads, which tooth is adapted for tearing? We're talking about tearing. Okay. And so here we have a canine, and canine is definitely for tearing. All right, so this will be our option here. Here we have a premolar. All right, here we have a incisor, and then we have a molar. Now, what's the difference between the premolar and molar? Notice that the premolar, which is B, is bigger than the molar, which is in D. And if you notice, even the root of the teeth is much spread out, right? So you have a larger surface area, but they look similar. So you can notice that difference, all right? So definitely our canine will be your answer for tearing. All right, so number 12. All right, so look at this now carefully. Let me go back in this so you can see everything at once. And so here it is saying that the diagram below represent 4 different particle arrangements. So which diagram best shows a mixture of an element and a compound? So remember now, element only made up of one type of atom, right? So option A will just be an element. Option B will be a molecule, same type of atoms. Option C, if you notice the black particles and then a black and a white together. So the black particles by themselves will be the element. The compound will be the black and white together. And D will just be a compound. So answer here will be C. Now let's go to number 13. And in number 13, it said, which of these waves is an example of longitudinal waves? And longitudinal waves, right off the bat, we should know that that is our sound waves. The sound waves are longitudinal waves. All right, visible light, water ripples, and X-ray, they are transverse waves. All right, number 14 here. And number 14 reads now, the equation summarizes a process that takes place in the human body. So we have glucose producing lactic acid plus energy. Now, you should remember that when you produce lactic acid, it is a fermentation process which is anaerobic. All right, and this only takes place when you have low oxygen or when a person is undergoing strenuous exercise. And so it said, in which part of the human body is the process likely to occur? And this will be in the muscles. So number 14 is C. All right, so let's go to number 15. Now, number 15 reads, hold on a minute. Okay, right. So number 15 reads, what are the characteristics of gaseous exchange surface? And so look at option A. We said a good blood supply, which is great. The B is saying good blood supply is good. C and D are saying poor blood supply. So these two cannot be any option, right? So just take those out. So we're looking at between A and B. A large surface area is good. Moist is also good. And what is also typical, I'm going to add this one here, the surface will also be thin. So you can just make a note of that, right? So you want the surface to be thin. So you can make a note of that part as well. All right. So those will be our features. So answer here is A for number 15. All right. So let's go to number 16 now. And number 16 reads now, they say the diagram below shows the electron configuration of an atom. And the question is asking now, what is the atomic number of this atom? All right, so let's go a little bit more. So first and foremost, what you need to understand right here is that the number of electrons is the same as the atomic number, and the same thing as the number of proton as well. So let's count the number of electrons. So here we have 2 on the first shell, and we have 5 on the second shell. So that's 7 electrons in total. So therefore, if there are 7 electrons, there must be 7 protons as well, which means the atomic number is 7. All right, so awesome. So that is option B for that question there. Now, question number 17. All right, and question number 17 asks now that a guitarist plucks on a string. She wants to make it louder. What must she do to the string? So there are a number of things you need to consider right here when looking at this question, right? We talk about the loudness of a guitar, okay? And remember, loudness generally depends upon the amplitude, all right? If we was talking about pitch, then pitch depends upon the frequency. So looking at this now, to make the thing louder, you'd want to tighten that string. So you tighten the string and you pluck on that string, it gives you a greater amplitude, which makes the sound much louder. All right, so let's go into question number 18. And question number 18, it said that the table shows the gaseous composition of air. All right. And so for this one, it said that, let's go down to the question here, right? Right there. It said which percentage of the inspired oxygen is being used by the body? All right, now be very careful, right? Because this now, the inspired air is 20% going in. Expired air is 16%, which is going out. So the difference between these two will be 4, right? 4%. So the 4% is being used, but it didn't ask how much it decreased by. It said which percentage of the inspired air, that means of that inspired air, is being used by the body. So what you want to do here, right, is to look at the difference. Remember, the difference between 20 and 16 is 4. All right? So we're going to do some calculation real quick. All right, so let's do a quick calculation. So how to find percentage of what been removed? You're gonna put the 4% over the original, which is 20, because you think about inspired here. So you're gonna say 4%. Let me just write that for you. You're gonna say 4% divided by 20%. Okay, so we're gonna say 4 divided by 20. Now let's do that real big. 4 over 20 times 100. Okay, so 4 over 20 times 100, you will get only 20%. Okay, so our answer there will be 20%. 20%. Remember to calculate that. The difference, which is 4% between the two numbers. So 4 divided by what? 20. And so it will give us 20% of that air is being used up. All right, let's go to our next question. This question number 19. And question number 19, it said after an athlete runs a race, he pants because of what? All right. So the excess panting, what is happening here? Because breathing becomes very rapid. No, that's not the reason. If breathing becomes rapid, actually, that is showing that he's actually panting. He's going to take in a lot of oxygen. And so here now, he's saying that no, carbon dioxide levels in the blood decrease. No. Oxygen demand exceed the oxygen supply, because remember now, because he's running so much, oxygen is used up for respiration. So it requires much more oxygen in. So we need to think about this. So oxygen demands exceed that is being supplied. So he pants to take in much more oxygen. All right, so number 20. And for number 20, he said the graph shows the result of observing a hot liquid, pure wax, and let me get over to the next part of the question here. All right, as it slowly cools to room temperature. All right, so we're looking at the cooling of this hot liquid. All right, so the liquefied wax, and we're looking at it as it cools. So this is a cooling curve. Now, what I want to point out here for you real quick, for you to understand this, is that once you see a temperature change, right? So I want to notice this line here. From here to here, there is a difference in temperature, because temperature is on the Y and on the points, or the state is on the X. And so once you see a change in temperature, it therefore means that there's no change in state. Okay, so I want you to know that. Once the temperature remains the same, it is moving from one state to another state. And again, there's a change in temperature, so therefore the state is maintained. All right, so remember now we're moving from, first and foremost, let's just quickly highlight this for you, all right? So what you need to remember now, this is moving from a liquid, right? So we're moving from a liquid. All right, we're moving from a liquid. So the first state right here is liquid. Okay, this first state here must be our liquid. All right, and then moving from the liquid, the second state here must be from liquid to solid. All right, liquid to solid. Let's put L and S. I want to kind of understand this, the change in state right here. All right, so the first state right here, it is liquid. Liquid to solid, and then the last state going down here is solid. All right, that is maintaining the state. So now we understand this. Now the question asks, what can be deduced from the result? What can you conclude from this? All right, so let's look at the options carefully. It said from E to F, the wax is starting to freeze. E to F, which is the first part. That's the liquid part. So it's not starting to freeze there, right? It's not starting to freeze at all. So now, looking at F to G, the wax is changing state from liquid to solid. Yep. So liquid to solid, remember our L to S. So here, liquid to solid is the option. That is cool. All right, let's look at G to H. G to H, some wax is being still liquid, which is not true because they're going to be solid at this point. the freezing point of wax is T1, which is not true, because remember here you have to have a next line to determine where the freezing point will be. So B will be our answer. All right, so let's go to question number 21. So this now is the speed time graph for a cyclist. Okay. And so we have speed on the y-axis and time on the x-axis. It said during what time interval was the cyclist traveling at a constant speed? What do you mean by constant speed? That means the speed is not changing. Okay, the speed is not changing. So if you look here where the line is straight, that means it's coming from 2 to 6. Okay, so we're 2 to 6. That will be our correct answer right there. All right, great. All right, so let's now jump on to our other question, which is question number 20. I think that is 22. Yep, 22. All right, so this one is asking now, which of the following is not a cause of dental decay? All right, so eating a balanced diet, do you think that will be a cause of decay, of your tooth decay? All right, and it says not. So eating a balanced diet is actually a good thing, right? So, all right, so that is a very good answer right here. All right. Brushing teeth only once a week, that's actually not a good thing to do. You need to brush your teeth at least 3 times a day. So only brushing for 1 time for the week. Oh my God, that is very, very disturbing. All right, drinking lots of fruit juice. Fruit juice is contain a lot of sugar substance, right? So definitely could cause tooth decay. Eating lots of sugary snack, same thing, providing the nice medium for bacteria to grow. All right, let's look at question number 23. This one asks, where would the atom with an electron configuration 286 be located on the periodic table? First thing you need to point out right here, right, is that these numbers represent the number of shells. So we have a first shell, second, and third shell. The number of shell will tell you the period that the element is in. The last number is the valence electron, and the valence electron will tell you the group that is in, the element belong to. And so if it is 6 valence electrons, it therefore means it is in group 6. So right off the bat, we can see that option C will be our answer. And again, period 3 because 3 shells, first, second, and third shell based on these numbers. So option C will be our answer there. All right, let's look at question number 24 at the same time. It said, which piece of apparatus is used to find the mass of an irregular shaped object? And they say mass. Now, the word irregular here is kind of throw you off a little bit, right? So please pay attention and be focused when looking at these words. And irregular doesn't matter. You're looking for mass. If we say volume, then that would be a different story. But talk about mass, a balance is used to measure mass, regardless of irregular or regularly shaped. Doesn't matter, right? All right, so a balance. So be careful of the words, okay? All right, let's get number 25 real quick. Now, question number 25 now reads that food labels tell how many calories the food inside the box or can contains. It said, look at this label on a cereal box, and so you have energy value. You have 1,505 kilojoules per 100 gram, and that's energy. So kilojoule is for energy right here. And the number of calories based on this energy is 350 calories per 100 gram. So the question now asks, if you ate 200 grams of this cereal, how many energy would it give you? And so looking for energy. All right. And so if 100 grams will provide you with 350 calories, then doubling that up will also double the calories, which give us 700. Okay. So 350 multiplied by 2 will give us what? 700. All right. So that will be our answer there. All right. So let's look at question 26. Now, for question number 26, it said, what is the symbol of a cation, which is a positive ion, containing 20 protons and 18 electrons? Now, looking for the symbol. First, you could jump to your periodic table. Very easy. the number of proton will tell you the element, right? That will never change. The proton will always be the same. So if you look in the periodic table, you notice that the element there will be calcium, right? With the Ca. And it is Ca2 plus. How do we know it's going to be 2 plus? Because the number of proton is always equal to the number of electrons within a neutral atom. And so for the electrons to be less, that means 2 electrons were given off. And so the loss of 2 electrons will be 2 positive, right? So 26 will be option A. All right, so let's get 27. All right, so question number 27, it said, which pair of bar magnets will repel each other? And when we talk about repel, which means you're going to have like poles, okay? So north to south, that's fine. That will be attraction. North to north, definitely a repulsion. All right, this is also saying south to north. That is cool. If north is here, that means south is at this point. And if south is here, that means north is at this point. So therefore, that's an attraction. All right. So definitely B is our answer there for question number 27. Now, question number 28. This is the diagram shows a plan of the human circulatory system. This diagram is a cool diagram. All right, let's zoom into it so you can see the whole thing. All right. All right, so the diagram is that. So you have the heart here, and you have the right atrium, you have the left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. Very cool diagram, the body and the lungs, right? Now, the question asks here now, so let's go to what the question is actually asking you. All right, so the question is asking, which labels on the diagram show the veins? Okay, now remember that veins will take blood towards the heart, okay? Arteries take blood away, arteries away, away. Now, we're looking for what is going to the heart, so let's go back up to that and see which one is going to the heart itself. All right, and so we have number 2 is going to the heart, which is awesome. So number 2, we could tick that one. Number 2 going to the heart. Number 1 is coming away from the heart, so that is not an answer. Okay, and so let's go back to the top here now. Number 3 is going away, which is not correct. Number 4 is going to. Okay, so number 2 and number 4, they are both going towards the heart. So those will be the veins, okay? Those will be the veins. All right, so let's go down to the options now. So looking for 2 and 4. So the option with 2 and 4 will be correct. And so 2 and 4 is option C. So option C will be our correct answer for this one. Veins, 2 and 4. All right, so let's go to our next question. And so our next question is question number 29. And question number 29 now reads that the table shows the pulse rate of a student taken each minute for 5 minutes while sitting still. And so we have our time here up to 5 minutes, and these are the beats. Now, question number 29 now is asking us now, it said, what is the average pulse per minute of the student resting? And so to get our average, you get the total. So you can add up all the numbers here. So 72, 74, 78, 52, and 69. And that will give us 345. So 345. All right, so 345. All right, and how many numbers do we have here? We have, let me put it in blue so you can see better. All right, so great. And so we have 345 as a total there. And we have how many numbers there? 5 numbers. And so if you divide 345 by 5, you will get 69, right? So 69 will be the option. So let's see you here. All right, so great. So option A will be our correct answer, okay? Awesome. All right, so let's go to our next question, which is question number 30. And question number 30 said, which of these is not a solution? All right, and so dilute sulfuric acid is a solution. Distilled water is not a solution, right? I'm putting there X to say it is not a solution. T the substance from what they use to make the tea will dissolve in the water, so that could form a solution. Seawater is salt and water solution, definitely. All right, so looking for distilled water for number 30. And so option B here is our correct answer. So it is not a solution. Water by itself, it is a liquid and it is a compound. Now question number 31, it asks that an electromagnet lifts a car to a height of 10 meters and holds it steady. What has happened to the energy of the car? And so the car is increasing height. So you have an increase in height going up. And so as height increases, then we gain potential energy. So answer here for question number 31 has to be B. Okay. All right. So let's now go to question number 32. And question number 32 is said, what is the function of fibrin in the blood? And fibrin is the final protein that is formed when you have a blood clot. So it will help with blood clotting. Okay. So fibrinogen will turn to fibrin. All right. So blood clotting will be our answer. Now, question number 33. It said, which statement describes all elements in group 2 of the periodic table? So group 2, remember now, if this is in group 2, remember the group is based upon the valence electrons. All right. The valence electrons. All right, let's see if we say anything about valence electron here. So they're all in period 2, which is not true because the period determines the number of shells, and so they could have more than 2 shells, right? They are known as alkaline earth metals. That is true because that's a name for group 2 elements. They have the same atomic mass, which is not true. They have 2 electron shells, not true. The same thing, saying the same thing as A. All right, so B is our answer there. Let's look at question number 34 real quick. Now, question number 34 said the diagram represents an electric circuit, right? So we have some letters here, R, S, P, and Q. Now, the question now asks, now, which label part pushes electrons through the circuit? So in other words, what is causing electrons to flow through this circuit? And remember now, electron will be what is carrying electric current. And so therefore the battery, which is P, is providing the electrons. So our option here is A. Okay, battery or cells will produce the electrons to create electric current. All right, so question number 35. It's a diagram now represents a joint in the human body, which labeled structure is the cartilage. Now, the first thing you need to remember is where cartilage are found. Cartilage, they are found at the ends of bones, right? And so let me zoom into the diagram a little bit. And so if you look carefully, you'd realize that the ends of the bones, the structures here, and those will be our cartilage. And so option D is our correct choice. Okay. Looking at the diagram carefully, notice that A is a bone, B is the muscle going towards the end. All right, and so you're going towards the tendon, which is down here, and C is a fluid at the joint, so this will be our synovial fluid. That's option C, is synovial fluid. All right, so our cartilage would be definitely D. All right, so let's get this question here. And so within this question, let me zoom back in. All right, so we had question number 36. All right, that should be good. Beautiful. All right, so this question now is asking us now, right? It said diagrams represent the outer shell of 2 different atoms, X and Y. So we have atom X, atom Y. Right. It said, what is the formula of the compound form on bonding? Now, X has only 1 outer electron. That means that's a valence electron, right? So this is from group 1. Element or atom X, Y has 6. So this is from group 6. Now, quite interesting. You're looking for the formula. So what you need to know now, if this is a metal because of 1 valence electron, this is a non-metal because of 6 valence electrons. And so to make this occur in terms of ionic bonding, you transfer the electron over. And so if you transfer this electron over here, it's going to be 7 now, right? So you need one more to become 8. So you go draw next X. So let's draw it here. This will be another X. One electron will be transferred over. So this now becomes stable, or everything becomes satisfied. All right. So now it is completed. And so what you notice here now is that all of this will require 2 X's and 1 Y. Another way to look at this, if you're interested, is think about how much electron will be given away. So if X give away 1 electron, then X become a positive 1, right? And Y is in group 6, so you need 2 more. So that means Y will become negative 2, right? And so if you think about this, so 2 negative and 1 positive. Let me write this one a little better. So this is positive right here. That's a positive. So if you think about it, positive 1 and negative 2, if you just cross these numbers, right, you get 2 X's and 1 Y. So let's see where in our option here we have our X2 and Y1. All right, so X2, Y1. And so this option here, which is C, will be our answer. All right, so 2 X's and 1 Y to make this bond completed. All right, excellent. Number 37. And in question number 37 now, let's look at what question number 37 is asking us. All right, and so question number 37, it said, which are the 2 effects of hormones, adrenaline? So what are the effects of adrenaline on our body? Remember, adrenaline is what they call the fright and flight hormone, right? So of course, it's going to get you in a state of excitement, a state of readiness, a burst of energy, and all of that. So we're looking at things that can actually cause you to have now that burst of energy, that readiness to protect yourself from danger. All right, it occurs during excitement as well. All right, and even when you're scared. So in this now, there's a decrease in breathing and heart rate. Not true. Increased breathing, decreased heart rate. Not true, because your heart rate will go faster. Your pupil also dilate, and so increased breathing, increased heart rate. Definitely, that's our answer right there. All right. Let's go to number 38. All right, let's study right there. So for question number 38, right, which reads now that the diagram shows a circuit, all right, in which all the lamps are lit. So all the lamps are lit at this point, right? Now the question is now asking us now, right? It said that the bulb mark X blow. So the bulb mark X is blow and break, all right? And so break part of a circuit. So if X is out, so let's take X out, okay, that is no longer existing. So if X is no longer there, the question is now asking now, how many lamps will remain on? So if X is blown, right, and the circuit is now break, how many lamps will be on? So let's look through this carefully. Will this lamp be on? No. So this lamp will not be on, simply because the flow of electron will stop. But this lamp and this lamp will still be on, because it will form here a series circuit still between the cell. You see what I'm saying, right? So there's a complete path between these 2 lamps to the cell. So here we'll have 2 lamps will be on. So this will be our option C. Okay, so option C will be our answer. All right, awesome. All right, so let's go to the next question now. And the next question here is asking us now that, oh, let's get steady right there. Okay, excellent. And so this one is asking us, it said that, how are covalent compound formed? So when you think about covalent compounds, right? Covalent compounds is always the sharing of electrons. All right. So option A is a transfer of electrons. You're going to take that one out. C is a transfer of electrons is also out. To take those two out. So we go about the sharing of electrons, right? So let's look at option B. It said by sharing of electrons between metallic and non-metallic element. It's not true because it only involves the sharing of electrons between non-metals, right? So option D is our correct answer. All right, let's look at question number 40, and we will soon reach to the end. In question number 40, right, it asks now, which characteristic describe the images formed by a convex mirror? And a convex mirror, of course, is going to curve, right? And that's curved mirror there. And then if you think about the behind the mirror, so the curve forward where the object will be. And so for this type of mirror, all of the images will tend to be erect and vertical. So erect and vertical will be our correct answer. So option A is our answer there. Let's look at question number 41 real quick. And in question number 41, it said, which of the following is an involuntary action? When you say involuntary action, which means you are not able to control this action. And so walking your control, that definitely. Blinking, you don't control blinking. You can blink if you decide to blink, but generally for responding, for a stimulus response, you do not control the blinking. You blink automatically, so it is involuntary. Winking, on the other hand, you can wink. Okay, so winking is different from blinking. So when you do this action voluntarily, you call it winking. Okay, and so clapping, you decide to do that. So definitely B is our option. Question number 42. All right, let's take out a little bit of zoom into that so we can see a little bit better. All right, awesome, right there. All right, so we said that 5 drops of soap solution were added to equal volumes of different samples of water in 4 test tubes. The test tubes were shaken and the results obtained shown. And so we have lather, which are these particles up top. We have the water sample here. And so we're talking about looking for the question now asks, which test tube contains soft water? Soft water means that there is no dissolved minerals, right? It's pretty much pure or as close to pureness. And so a pure water or soft water will allow the soap to lather much more. So if you look here carefully, you're looking at for the one a lot of lather, which means soapiness, right? And so if you look at option C, you'd realize that option C contains the most lather. Okay, so option C will be our choice. Now question 43. All right, and question 43 said, what is the time shown by the stopwatch? Okay, and so if you notice it is in seconds. That's the first thing you notice, that this is in seconds, right? And so if you're moving here, moving from top here, that's 5, 10, 15, and then 2 more is going to be 17. So definitely without any doubt, this one was very easy, just 17 seconds, right? So that's a giveaway question on the exam, I presume. All right, number question 44. It said that the diagram shows a developing fetus, right? So the fetus is developing. We have the placenta, which is P. We have Q, which is the umbilical cord. We have the uterus. We have the fetus there. Now, let's see what they're asking about this question here. It said, which 2 substances pass from P to Q? So which substance is passing from the placenta to Q, which is going into the fetus? So looking for useful substances that the fetus will need, all right? All right, so now let's think about it. Carbon dioxide cannot be correct because they're going out, yes? So A and B automatically they're out. Urea going out as well. So C look really good because nutrients and oxygen, the fetus needs nutrients and oxygen definitely. Urea is a waste product that should be going out. So yeah, we're gonna stick with C. Okay, nutrients and oxygen going into the fetus. All right, number 45. It's a which entry shows the link between the property and the use of metal. And so so for this now 45, if you look at it carefully now, aluminum conducts electricity, make airplanes, right? And so that's not necessarily a good choice in terms of best conduction of electricity. It's not necessarily a good thing. But of course, parts of aluminum can be used in airplanes because of the lightness and so on. All right, so that's not that bad. All right. So look at B now. So aluminum resists corrosion and definitely making food containers, so that's pots and so on. Definitely aluminum could use to do that. But let's go down a little bit more. Mild steel conducts electricity, definitely conducts electricity. But making garden tools is not necessarily a good thing because mild steel tend to rust. And of course, you don't want garden tools to be rusting all the time, right? Mild steel conducts heat, definitely making car bodies, which is not the best thing as well. So our best option here will be B, okay? Or B will be our best option there. Let's look at number 46. It says sound travels at 300 meters per second. And now you have the distance between these two persons is 1,200 meters. And the question is asking now, how long did it take the sound of the gun of the gunshot to reach Karen? So Karen is the female right there, right? So we're looking at how long it'll take from here to reach here. Now we're looking for time because I said how long is the time, right? And so if you remember that speed, right, which is v, is equal to distance over time. I want to find time now. All right, so distance over time. And we want to find time. So what will we do to find time is to make T be the subject of the formula. So T based on this now will equal to D over V. Okay, distance over speed. Okay, and so if we put distance, which is 1,200, okay, so 1,200 over 300, what would you get? Use a calculator and get that. You should get 4 because, all right, so 1,200 divided by 3 will give you 4. And so this will be 4 seconds for this option here. Okay, 4 seconds. Now, question number 47, and we almost there to the end. It said, which pair of physical changes are both endothermic? Looking for endothermic. All right, so endothermic is absorption of heat, okay? So endothermic is absorption of heat. You need heat for this to take place. You need to take in heat, not to release heat, taking in heat. So condensation is cooling, right? So cooling is loss of heat. So therefore, we know that that's not the correct answer. Sublimation could go both ways, right? Condensation and freezing, to condense and freeze. Again, you lose heat in those two cases. Melting and freezing. Freezing, again, you lose the heat. You're not taking the heat in, but melting, of course, is endothermic. Melting and evaporation, and you require heat for both of these. So those are absorbing heat for these processes to take place. So D will be our correct answer. Now, question number 48. It said, which diagram best represent the state of the uterus during menstruation? And menstruation is when the the walls of the uterus is being shed, all right, which means blood is coming out of female. And by looking at the diagram carefully, notice that D here is the only thing that you see, the shedding of the uterine wall. All right, let's look at 49 real quick. As a diagram shows the female reproductive system of a mammal. And so we have some labeled parts here. We have the fallopian tube, which is B. A is the ovary, C is the uterus, and D is the cervix. Now, the question asks, in which labeled position would a diaphragm be correctly placed? A diaphragm. So diaphragm is just like a membrane to prevent the sperm from going up into the uterus. So it cannot meet the egg in the fallopian tube. So the best place to put the diaphragm will be placed right here. So it's just a blockage, all right, for sperm cell to not to pass through. So it will be placed at the cervix. All right, so 50, last question here. All right, so number 50 now is asking us now. We say the diagram shows a wooden block of 150 grams and its dimension, right? It said, what is the density? And so density is mass over volume, right? So find the volume going to be 2 times 3 here, which is 6, all right? And then 6 times 5 there is going to be 30. So going to be 150 over 30, and that will give us 5. So 5 grams per centimeters cube will be our answer. And this is the end of it. And I'm very happy for you to be here. Thank you for viewing, watching, and practicing. And so I will see you next time with another past paper review. All right, so keep safe. Take care. All right.